We're continuing with part 2 of Chinese 170 Chinese poems. After exploring China and seeing the story of China with Michael Wood, we figure there's a lot of poets in China. South of the Great Sea. My love is living to the south of the Great Sea. What shall I send to greet him? 2 pearls and a comb of tortoise shell. I'll send them to him packed in a box of jade. They tell me he is not true. They tell me he dashed my box to the ground, dashed it to the ground and burned it and scattered its ashes to the wind. From this day to the ends of time, I must never think of him, never again think of him. The cocks are crowing and the dogs are barking. My brother and his wife will soon know. The autumn wind is blowing, the morning wind is sighing. In a moment the sun will rise in the east, and then it too will know. Something about her engagement is broken off. They'll know her engagement is broken off. So she's got to go on, I guess.
And she will, everybody will find out.
They're going to find out. But I want to read that again. I should read it again. Here's her engagements broke off. It's called The South of the Great Sea. My love is living to the south of the Great Sea. What shall I send to greet him? 2 pearls and a comb of tortoiseshell. I'll send them to him packed in a box of jade. They tell me he is not true. They tell me he dashed my box to the ground, dashed it to the ground and burned it and scattered its ashes to the wind. From this day to the ends of time, I must never think of him, never again think of him. The cocks are crowing and the dogs are barking. My brother and his wife will soon know about the broken off engagement. The autumn wind is blowing, the morning wind is sighing. In a moment the sun will rise in the east, and then it too will know. So now the sun will know.
And when the sun will know, everybody will know.
Everybody will know. Right. So what's it saying? She's got to forget about him and go on.
That's symbolic how everybody will find out.
Mm-hmm. The other side of the valley. I am a prisoner in the hands of the enemy, enduring the shame of captivity. My bones stick out, and my strength is gone, though not getting enough to eat. My brother is a mandarin, and his horses are fed on maize. Why can't he spare a little money and send and ransom me? This poor guy's a prisoner, and he's asking his brother to pay them off and ransom me. Guess that was a popular way to get out of prison. Pay off. So his brother has to raise money. I don't know what it all means. But oaths of friendship. In the country of Yua, when a man made friends with another, they set up an altar of earth and sacrificed upon it a dog and a cock, reciting this oath as they did so. Poem. If you were riding in a coach and I were wearing a li, a li is a peasant's coat made of straw, and one day we met in the road and you would get down and bow. If you were carrying a tang, which is an umbrella, and I were riding on a horse, and one day we met in the road, I would get down for you. No, that's a oath of friendship. Mm-hmm. All right.
So it doesn't matter how great one would become, he would still bow.
And this, I think, is also an oath of friendship poem. Sheng Ya, I want to be your friend forever and ever without break or decay, when the hills are all flat and the rivers are all dry, when it lightens and thunders in winter, when it rains and snows in summer, when heaven and earth mingle. Not till then will I part from you. That's an oath of friendship. This is a burial song. The dew on the grape leaf sung at the burial of kings and princes. How swiftly it dries, the dew on the garlic leaf. The dew that dries so fast, tomorrow will fall again. But he whom we carry to the grave will never more return. The dew on the grape leaf dries so fast. Is that like life or something? How swiftly it dries, the dew on the grape leaf, the dew that dries so fast. Tomorrow will fall again, but he whom we carry to the grave will never more return. That's a burial song. It's very Buddhist, because the life goes fast, but at the same time, the dewdrop will fall again.
Life will come again.
Life comes again.
Born again. But
Here's another burial song, The Graveyard. It says, what man's land is the graveyard?
well, I don't read that.
Oh, 17 old poems. Here's 17 old poems. Old poetry. Attributed to Mei Sheng and one to Fu. They had an enormous influence on subsequent poetry. Okay, he's like a Segyo type, and tremendous influence, an old poet. He says, on and on, always on and on, away from you, parted by life's parting. Going from one another 10,000 li, each in a different corner of the world. The way between is difficult and long, face to face, how shall we meet again? The Tartar horse prefers the north wind. The bird from you nest on the southern branch. Since we parted, the time is already long. Daily my clothes hang loose around my waist. Floating clouds obscure the white sun. The wandering one has quite forgotten home. Thinking of you has made me suddenly old. The months and years swiftly draw to their close. I'll put you out of my mind, forget forever, and try with all my might to eat and thrive. Okay. Then something goes on here. It says, poem 2. Green, green, the grass by the river bank. Thick, thick, the willow trees in the garden. Sad, sad, the lady in the tower. White, white, sitting at the casement window. Fair, fair, her red powdered face. Small, small, she puts out her pale hand. Once she was a dancing house girl. Now she is a wandering man's wife. The wandering man went, but did not return. It is hard alone to keep an empty bed. You like that one? That's a nice one. And the way he presents it with the colors. Let's see, try that again. Green, green, grass by the riverbank. Thick, thick, the willow trees in the garden. Sad, sad, the lady in the tower. White, white, sitting at the casement window. Fair, fair, her red powdered face. Small, small, she puts out her pale hand. Once she was a dancing house girl. Now she is a wandering man's wife. The wandering man went, but did not return. It is hard alone to keep an empty bed. Interesting structure. He
describes.
She's white, fair, and small, and was a dancing girl. And now her husband's gone. What happens there? Oh, here's another one that starts out green. He says, green, green, the cypress on the mound. Firm, firm, the boulder in the stream. Man's life lived within this world is like the sojourning of a hurried traveler. A cup of wine together will make us glad, and a little friendship is no little matter. He says a little friendship is a big thing, huh? Yoking my chariot, I urge my stubborn horses. I wander about in the streets of Wanlu and Low Town, how fine everything is. The caps and belts. The caps and belts refers to the high officers. The caps and belts go seeking each other out. The great boulevards are intersected by lanes. Within are the townhouses of royal dukes. The two palaces stare at each other from afar. The twin gates rise 100 feet. By prolonging the feast, let us keep our hearts gay and leave no room for sadness to creep in. I like this poet. He's kind of like Segyo or something. This poet we're reading is Mei Sheng, Meisheng, 1st century BC. Says, his poems had an enormous influence on subsequent poetry, and many of the habitual cliches of Chinese verse are taken from them. Very good. So he's a classic, and the later poets may play upon him. Number 4, of this day's glorious feast and revel, the pleasure and delight are difficult to describe. Plucking the lute, they sent forth lingering sounds. The new melodies and beauty reached the divine. Skillful singers intone the high words. Those who knew the tune heard the trueness of their singing. We sat there, each with the same desire, and like thoughts by each unexpressed. Man in the world, lodging for a single lifetime, passes suddenly like dust born on the wind. Then let us hurry out with high steps and be the first to reach the highways and fords, rather than stay at home wretched and poor for long years, plunged in sordid grief. Mm-hmm. Next poem, 5. In the northwest there is a high house, its top level, with the floating clouds. Embroidered curtains thinly screen its windows. Its storied tower is built on 3 steps. From above there comes a noise of playing and singing, the tune sounding. Oh, how sad! Who can it be, playing so sad a tune? Surely it must be Qin Yang's wife, who had no father, no husband, and no children. Qin Yang's wife. The tranquil D follows the winds rising. The middle lay lingers indecisive. To each note, 2 or 3 sobs. Her high was conquered by overwhelming grief. She does not regret that she is left so sad, but minds that so few can understand her song. She wants to become those 2 wild geese that with beating wings rise high aloft. It seems he understands the singer. We are reading from 170 Chinese poems, translated by Arthur Waley, and it's a Gutenberg.org document.